Hello and welcome to this video. Today we are continuing on with playing our life. You know the drill by now. Let's go. Let's just continue, you know? I say. And so, we have a few different choices today. Don't you see? So I'd say that we should do the little sneaky thing that I did last time, which was to do a main storyline and then a DLC one. So yeah, I say let's go with Sandcastle and Ghost, but first, let's get into Sandcastle. Let's go. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When him, and Shiloh set out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But he can't because he got that cast going on, okay? But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon. Not with his cast, like I said. The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering and blue. Another reminder of the place he couldn't go. So rude. From what you'd heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get that cast off. Like, make a pact with a witch or something, just to get that off of his arm. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here, with you and Shiloh, and Lissy, and everyone else. And he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there, on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everyone else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said out loud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in.
The water?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon.
Cove only sighed in response. Apparently, soon wasn't soon enough. It's so pretty, the ocean. Oh, I think Shiloh said that. Oops, it's so pretty, the ocean. And huge. There could be anything out there. Like mermaids. Yeah! I wish you didn't have a cast. Oh my god. No. I don't really care. Swimming might be fun, if we could. I'm fine here on land. Mermaids aren't real. I feel like a lot of these responses are so bitchy and mean. Okay, so I'm just gonna say swimming could be fun if we could, because I feel like everything else is just so bad. But it's not like there's anything we can do about it. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back to the water. But as he looked, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I am listening.
Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before.
It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away.
Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him. I'll play too. I love making sand stuff. Sure. I've never really made one before. There's nothing else to do. I love making sand stuff.
Okay.
He put his hands back on his seashells and sand and nodded.
I don't do it a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started.
Shiloh, focusing intently, more intently than you had ever seen him, guided Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared.
That's all. Kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger. Add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
Okay. I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be a real castle.
Cool. This is gonna be a house.
Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make a house, a castle, A mansion. I'm gonna make a mansion. Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to do what Lizzie would do and design a mansion. Because Lizzie is about that life. Anyway, the better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for decoration. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of the shells, but there were still options. The first thing you reached for was a red bottle cap, blue seashell, green piece of sea glass. Actually, sea glass is really pretty. I mean, all of these options are aight. I mean, that's a Coke bottle or something. Okay, but yeah, no, a green piece of sea glass. It was the best fit for your mansion, you decided. It's like an emerald. Anyway, it was see-through and sparkly. So you put it in a funny place, where it'd take a second look to see it. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. You checked out Cove's sandcastle. You checked out Shiloh's sandhouse. You decided not to give a damn! Okay, you decided not to look. Let's look at Cove's sandcastle. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have really worked hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably gonna find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. The silence was then broken. What's on top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's I say Shiloh's so much. Oops. Shiloh's sand chimney.
Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat. It's good. That's smart. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I guess. I don't see it. You should be an architect. Kinda looks like a worm. Oh man, I don't know about this one. I kinda wanna say it looks like a worm because I just love that like as an insult. You damn worm! Anyway. You should be an architect would also be sweet to say. Kinda looks like a worm. I'm sorry. Oh man. Okay, I didn't mean to say a slimy worm. Sticking his tongue out in disgust, Cove-faced soured. Gross. I'm sorry, Shiloh. Shiloh frowned without a word. I'm so sorry. And that was that for the current topic. Okay, actually, I feel really bad that I said it looked like a worm now. Anyways. Rebecca, can I see what you did? Sorry, Shiloh. Sure. He scouted just a bit nearer and began surveying your work. All you really knew about mansions was they were supposed to be big, so you'd got really big. It was the size of the country club that Lizzie played golf at. Compared to Cove and Shiloh's building, it's probably even bigger. It's a measuring contest now, bitch! Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation.
Hey Rebecca, what did you do?
This is my mansion. Cove scowled for a moment. Apparently the anger was actually still there after his argument with Lizzie more than a week ago.
It looks great. Your house is so big.
My house is the biggest, yes. In fact, it is. It's not a big house, it's a mansion. I guess mansions are just really big houses. Thanks. I just looked at him. I don't know why. Sorry about that. I guess mansions are just really big houses.
Huh? Is being a house bad?
No, but we made our own place. Nobody's the same. I think we are. Cove raised an eyebrow that, oh god, is about to go down. If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special.
Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff.
People too. My dad always says how everybody's their own man. A real individual.
I don't think I'm very special.
Why not? Nobody else is you.
Shiloh simply shook his head.
I'm not different.
A beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again.
Okay.
He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind.
My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to.
Cove trailed off. Again, there was another moment of silence. Kylo shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was gonna talk.
Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Rebecca?
You waited to see if Shiloh would say what he wanted to. When he didn't, you considered Cove's question. I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him, because he's a youngin'. He's a young, handsome dad, okay? But you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh well, I was there. I don't think my mom has met your dad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Rebecca's parents and my dad met the same day I met her. I'm gonna say what happened.
Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want to say is important too. You stayed silent and let Cove finish his story. I think Shiloh wants to talk too. This one's really difficult, to be honest, because I would stand up for Shiloh and be like, just say what you need to say, because that's really important, especially with people that are very shy and hold themselves back. You should definitely encourage them to speak when they want to speak. They're just, some of them, me included, are just used to being shut down or not really listened to sometimes, so it's definitely important for them to be spoken up for sometimes. Of course they can do it themselves, but it doesn't always come as easily. So actually, in this situation, I'm not even sure I would even though Cove is also shy, or he's a little off-putting sometimes, I think Shiloh wants to talk too.
Huh? We were talking. Just not right now. I'm talking to you. He can listen.
Yeah, it's not gonna go great, is it? Shiloh's expression barely flicked at the words. He still looked put off. Cove continued like the interruption hadn't happened. He was determined to tell the tale. Yeah, but Cove is also a little bit of a different kind of guy, so it's a whole thing.
When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us. Only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that.
His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that.
Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too, and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said, I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there. The ones where we met for the first time.
Cove nodded, then stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more. Aren't you gonna finish your story? Cove's brows wiggled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
That's all that happened.
Okay. Why did you want to tell the story if nothing happens? You really gotta get better at telling stories. That's a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me is what we'll go with.
You're welcome.
Even if not much happened, you weren't gonna complain about knowing the story. Shiloh's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why'd you bring that up anyway? There was a light shrug of Cove's shoulders.
Well,
I was thinking about it because of the Sandcastles. It made me remember when I moved to here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason.
Cove's brows furrowed in a little more as he quietly raked his hands through the sand. I get it. You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. Definitely, absolutely. But the line of conversation had to come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped in his head. Shiloh fidgeting uncomfortably in the sand had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other and you could only wonder what this might be about.
Hey, Shiloh?
yeah?
Oh no. Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening?
I was about to tell a story just now about something that happened to me when I after the Pandoodle, we were actually allowed to go to university again, in person, obviously, and something happened where I turned really, really red, and I can't control it, so whatever. I'm not gonna tell that story though, because whatever. Anyways, for the people who know in my personal life know, and that's, you'll know, okay? Anyways, totally sidetracked. Let me just continue. Clearly startled, he jerked back. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again.
I don't know, I guess.
Okay, it's kind of weird. Stop, Cove! You're gonna make him uncomfortable! Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Oh no. The fight music, the tension music is here, God! Maybe it wasn't only this, perhaps it was simply the last straw. But it was a big deal to Shiloh. A huge deal, in fact. He didn't just look sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got an answer.
Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and no one is named Cove. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad bugging Rebecca's family.
Oh God, okay, sorry.
It was just your dad. Probably just your dad bugging Rebecca's family some more because you don't have anyone else who'll ever play with you.
Cove blinked. Ding ding. Hello? The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to laugh off. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you had never known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh.
I'm sorry. Me too, I was just wondering.
Hey, let's build another sandcastle.
You try to play on your own. Are we gonna build more? You nervously missed with the sand. So, in this situation, it's really hard to say, it definitely is, uncomfortable. I would probably say it like this, if anything.
You wanna keep building sandcastles?
Yeah, okay.
Cove glanced at Shiloh, whose smile hadn't returned to full power, then at you. Alright. What a relief. You were glad it was settled. You all went back to making some more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you'd try to do something to resolve it, though it seemed like it'll help. Even though Shiloh's smile when you said goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. The two of you trailed off out to the park together towards the neighborhood. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up in thinking about something. You asked Cove what he was thinking. He stayed silent. No, we gonna ask. Something was definitely up, so you chose to reach out to him and ask, "Hey Cove, is everything okay? You're making a funny face." Oh, I was just wondering. Cole fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed.
Why did Shiloh have to act like that when I said he was all red a lot?
You're being rude to him. He's just being a baby. You shouldn't make fun of him. I don't know, it's just Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. You shrugged at Cove with no answer to give. You think he gets embarrassed?
Embarrassed? But I didn't say anything that bad.
It might have upset him anyway.
I guess I can get it. Why would he do that? Sometimes I get really mad too.
Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour.
Hey, Rebecca, was Shiloh telling the truth?
Huh? His gaze left yours as he dug the sole of his shoe into the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second.
Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your mom a lot. To your mom about that a lot.
An uncomfortable weight settled in your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't even have to think hard about it. You knew that you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Your dad does do stuff so you'll hang out with my family, but Shiloh didn't have to say that. You decided to tell him about how his dad offered you money. Today is not the day. We are not telling a little vulnerable Cove that we got the money to hang out with him. No freaking way. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. I just wanted to make sure it was okay, so thanks for telling me.
Your throat tightened. It was so hard to meet Cove's earnest gaze again. Keeping secrets was hard. You're welcome. By now, the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses. It was time to part ways. You said goodbye. You hugged Cove goodbye. You notched Cove's shoulder. Also, I'm all about the hugs. I am a huggy buddy. I love hugs. So we're gonna give Cove a little hug. You stepped toward and wrapped your arms around him tightly. You turned your head, resting your cheek on his shoulder. Cove stood there awkwardly with his hands at his side. He wasn't much of a hugger. Yeah, and that I know as well. Neither is like my boyfriend. He's not a hugger either. I mean, he hugs me, but doesn't really hug anybody else. He's just like Cove for real. Anyway, but you didn't get the impression that he was unhappy that you were. Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye, Rebecca.
You pulled away, then jogged towards your house. When you looked back, you saw Cove making his way back home too. As if he felt your eyes on him, he turned around. He waved. You did too. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad, or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would take it either. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? You might change your mind sometime. Yes. There was almost tomorrow after all. Always tomorrow. Why almost tomorrow? There was almost tomorrow. Yes. But now it was definitely something that you had to keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. And that was Sandcastle. Okay, I say let's go with Ghost. The night was incredibly still. You really couldn't ignore how silent it was. It was almost eerie. You couldn't even hear Lacey snoring in the next room over. It was hard to believe how much of a blur today was. Summer sure did slip right past you. You flicked through the moments like pages in a scrapbook as you laid in bed. The ones that stuck out all seemed to include your new neighbor, Cove. It was funny how he had become such a big part of your life in such a short span of time. You thought a lot about what adventures you could have tomorrow until sleep started to catch up to you. Then you heard something scrape against the window. It wasn't that uncommon for the wind to push the tree branch against the glass. Summer breezes were the worst sometimes, but the more you tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed like it became. It was like something was trying to get your attention. You lifted your head off the pillow to get a better look. Nothing was there. Nothing you could see, at least. You just went back to bed. It was only your imagination. You had to investigate the mysterious sign. It was too creepy to ignore. Go back to bed. You tried again to close your eyes and go to sleep. But the unknown scratching sound didn't stop. It left your heart pounding. For real, sometimes you couldn't ignore it anymore. You had to check it out. You want to talk to your moms about it. The thing is, I absolutely have always been a scaredy cat. But I love creepy things. It's ridiculous. It all started when I found my love for creepypastas back in the day, back in the old days. And I still love and keep up with like all the horror stuff, indie horror stuff, whatever, just anything. But I'm also a scaredy cat. Like, I am so bad at analog horror things. Like, I have not watched the Mandela catalogs because I just simply cannot. I don't think I can anyway. It's the disfigured faces and all that. I cannot handle it. So, yeah. Maybe it's just a me problem, but if this was actually me, I think I would just stay in bed with my heart like pitter-pattering, or go to my parents when I was young, obviously. So actually, I would pick this option because that's more realistic for how a scaredy cat, like me, myself, and I, who love spooky things, would react. You went to talk to your moms about it. Your nerves were wound tight, ready to burst. Sleeping like this was not an option, and neither was waiting for whatever it was to make its next move. You took a deep breath, then cast the covers aside and leaped out of bed. You were out of the room, down the stairs, and into the still brightly lit safety of the living room in a matter of moments.
Are you okay?
Rebecca, what's wrong, sweetie? Your entrance had been swift, but it had not been silent. That was good. Your moms hurried to your side while you were catching your breath. The TV show they were watching continued to play in the background. You told them you were scared. You acted tough. You didn't let it get to you more. You told them you were scared. I'm scared! You reached for the closest parent and clung to her for dear life. Isn't that just how it went? There's a loud noise coming from the window. Oh, did it frighten you? Yeah. Mommy crouched down and held your hand, and Mom wrapped her arms around you. Mommy wrapped her arms around you. You felt the concern slip away. Nothing bad could happen while you were with your moms. So sweet and true. Back in the day when you were a little child and your parents just heal you. Why don't the three of us go upstairs and check together? We'll see what's causing the racket. Good plan. Rebecca, can you be brave and show us where the sound was coming from? We want to be extra specially sure that we've checked thoroughly. You nodded. Mom released you from the hug with a proud look. You led them back to your room, still clutching Mommy's hand. Stopping in the doorway, you pointed to the window. It came from there, but I couldn't see anything. I'll go investigate. She flicked the light on with a click. Your heart leaped in your chest as Mom approached the window. Kneeling on your bed, she made a show of inspecting the area from every angle. I don't see anything either. Something was there, I heard it. Alright, you and Mommy stay back there, and I'll keep looking. I have to go outside, but it'll be done in a jiffy. If it's the wind, we'll have to do our best to sleep throughout the sound. If it's something else, it won't be there for much longer. Mom is awesome. Isn't her name Pamela? Yeah. She winked at you and punched one palm with the fist. She winked at you and punched one palm with the fist of her other hand. Like this? Yeah, I think so. She's like, I'm gonna beat that Slender Man ass. I don't know. Wait. You gave her a flashlight. You gave her a roll of paper. You gave her a stuffed animal. You gave her another hug. Oh, so sweet. You gave her a flashlight. She's gonna need that for Slender Man. You stepped into the room and rummaged in the drawers next to your bed. If Mom was going to take on whatever had been at your window, she should have some way to see what's happening. This'll help. Smiling, Mom accepted your offer. It sure will. Thanks, Rebecca. Mom then boldly left your room to put an end to the mystery. You scurried back to Mommy, who brushed your hair reassuringly. After a little while, your racing heart began to return to its normal pace, and your eyelids grew heavy.
It's okay.
You might be comfier back on the bed. I can keep watch. Okay. Let's get you all settled in, nice and safe. Mommy made a nest of pillows and cushions, which you eagerly snuggled into. Your head was elevated, so you could see the window, at least. At least you could when you could keep your eyes open. Mommy sat beside the bed, still stroking your hand. Mom and I can take care of things. You just worry about getting enough sleep for tomorrow. I know it'll be another big day. Before you could even think of doing otherwise, you drifted off to sleep. When you woke the next morning, it took a few moments to remember the events from the night before. Your moms weren't there right now. But you were feeling better. It worried you. What if they'd been eaten? No, you were feeling better. With the light's sunshine glowing against the back of your curtains, it didn't seem so dangerous anymore. You hopped out of bed and headed down to breakfast, finding your parents already seated at the dining table. Mommy with a giant cup of coffee in her hands, and Mom with her nose in some papers.
How are you?
Good morning, honey. Were you able to sleep well? Yes? No? You shrugged. Yes. I dreamt I was a penguin, sliding across the snow in my belly. Mom smiled at you fondly, holding back a laugh.
How are you?
No more strange occurrences to report? My investigation didn't turn up anything either. It must have been more scared of us than we were of it and ran off. I think you might be right, Pam. Sit down and have some breakfast while the toast is still warm. What kind of topping would you like? Jam, peanut butter, honey, just butter. Extra butter. Bring me the butter. Yummy. Mommy shook her head at you in amusement, as if it was the silliest thing she'd heard. But she still rebuttered the already buttered toast. Lather that thing in butter, I dare you. Do it. Of course. After breakfast, you decided to take a walk to the playground to get some fresh air. As you headed towards the playground, taking off your shoes so the soft sand squished between your toes, you spotted a familiar head of green hair. Cove was sitting on one of the swings, but he wasn't swinging at all. And when you moved closer, you noticed that his eyes were closed. Just my man sleeping on the damn swing set. Okay. Cove? You made an awkward noise to try to get his attention. You poked him. You shook him. Cove? Positioning yourself in front of him, you could see he was breathing softly, and his glasses had fallen down his nose a little. After a moment or two, you realized he couldn't hear you, so you said his name again. A little louder this time. Cove! This time he stirred, letting out a soft groan at the interruption. Then Cove yawned and pushed his glasses back up his nose, blinking sleepishly against the bright sun. Wake up, sleepyhead! Cove yawned again, and you raised an eyebrow at him. I'm tired. I didn't sleep very well last night. There were some weird noises outside. You looked at him in shock, your heart beating faster in your chest and your palms beginning to sweat. Knees weak, palms are heavy. Palms are sweaty, not palms are heavy. Girl, I can't. Anyway. Could Cove have heard the same thing as you? What kind of noises? Cove was quiet for a moment, his nose crinkled in thought. Like scratching. Like clawing against the side of the house, trying to climb up it. I went outside to check. Really? That was brave. You did? It sounds like a risky idea. What did you find? What did you find? Your curiosity got the best of you, and more than anything, you wanted to know what it was that Cove had seen out there. what it was that could have also been lurking outside your hut window. Cove shrugged simply at the question, his mouth set into a grim line. Nothing. Oh, we literally said it at the same time. Then the sound stopped. That's a relief. That's disappointing. So relief. You let out a breath, happy that Cove didn't have an encounter with anything sinister lurking in the streets. Not today. The thought of it really being nothing gave you comfort, and you'd known you'd find it easier to sleep that night. After that, the rest of the afternoon went by pretty normally, with Cove and you spending a little more time at the park together. That evening, when it started to grow dark once more, you thought back on what Cove had told you, how he didn't find anything outside his house during that night. You held on to that memory, letting it comfort you and keep you brave when you went to bed, knowing that you had nothing to fear. And that was Ghost and Sandcastle. You know the drill. I only do 2 moments at a time, so I will sadly say that this is the end of the episode, but I will love to see you in the next one. Me and Cove would love to see you in the next one, so we hope to see you in the next one. So for now, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!